Spartan Way is a book we published a few months ago, and we focus on 10 principles. These are ancient principles, nothing new. It's not a pill that's going to change your life. It's just hard work. I'm going to walk you through those 10 principles today. I want you to write them down. I want you to sleep on them, memorize them, internalize them, because these will change your life. Why do I need these principles? Why do you need them? We're all on journeys. Who here is married? Raise your hand. Girlfriend, boyfriend, raise your hand. Kids, starting a business, running a department, running a marathon, right? Those are all journeys. We're all on 100 journeys. In those journeys, during those journeys, we want to achieve success. And I would argue, and I think you'll agree after we go through this, you are more likely to achieve success if you hone in and master these principles. So I am going to walk you through a roadmap. And that roadmap applies to every single journey we go on. Doesn't matter. Like I said, doesn't matter if you're running a marathon, doesn't matter if you're growing a family, running a farm. It's all the same roadmap. You all face the same challenges, and to achieve success, we need these principles. The environment, I would argue, is changing. It's not like it was 200, 500, 1,000 years ago, right? It's easy. Indoor plumbing. It's changed us, and we're softer. We're helpless. We learn helplessness. The point there is grit. It's no longer a luxury. Like, we need it. We used to just be gritty, and as we go through this, you'll understand why we no longer, most of us, don't have that grit anymore. Being Spartan, the things Corolla talked about, means to internalize that grit, right? To push through. Like her daughter said to her with a broken nose, "Mom, Spartan up." I want everybody to have that kind of grit. We want to sprinkle that throughout the world and all the country. We want everybody to Spartan up. This is a great graphic. This shows, if you look at the y-axis, right, up and down, we used to have a tremendous tolerance for pain 200 years ago. And we had really low expectations. We just wanted the sun to rise. We didn't want to get eaten by a lion, right? Now, who gets pissed off if Wi-Fi doesn't work on an airplane? Right? It's not funny. Right? People say to me, "How was your flight?" And I always sit in the back of the plane. The plane landed. I mean, landing is good, right? Because the alternative would suck. And so we need to flip our frame of reference. And I'm going to get into that because that's one of the big principles that you need to learn and study and adopt if you want to achieve success. Adversity, look at this chart, the green circle, that's where we live today. Years ago, we were in a much different place. We didn't have, as I said, indoor plumbing. We didn't have everything on demand at our fingertips, right? And so we don't get outside that green circle. We don't practice adversity, manufacture a little bit in our lives. We can't deal with stuff like Wi-Fi, not working on the plane, when it hits us. So one of the things we're going to talk about is how do we manufacture, and why should we manufacture some adversity in our lives. All right, we'll get into the principles. So the first one is some self-awareness. Raise your hand if you feel you know your true north, if you know your purpose here on life, like you're really excited about where you're going. I can't see well because the lights are in my eyes, but I don't see very many hands that went up. I see a couple. And for me, I'm living my dream. Like, I want to live forever. I love what's going on. I love doing the Spartan stuff. I love the brand. I love the kids I have. I love my wife. Like, I just love everything. So I've nailed my true north. But I think a lot of people have a tough time with this. And actually, a buddy of mine's here, Joe Polish, and you taught me what we're going to talk about here is some people ask the question when they're trying to figure out their true north, what would I do if I had all the money in the world? You've heard that question asked. What would I do if today was my last day on earth? But my buddy here taught me to ask this question, what would I do if I knew I was going to fail? And so think about that, because if you knew you were going to fail and you did it anyway, you probably really love it. Like Spartan, for the first 10 years, lost money. We were failing every day, but I loved it. I loved what I was doing. And so this is my true north. I have a buddy here in Arizona who runs an MMA gym. He is hardcore. He makes me look like Hello Kitty. This guy is tough. And he said to me, he told me the story of one of his students coming in and losing a wrestling match. Every single day would come in and just get his ass kicked every day. But this guy kept coming in for a decade. And so he loved it, right? He had all the attributes we're going to talk about here, but he clearly loved what he was doing. And so when you try to figure this out, and take a snapshot, or we'll send this to you, because this is really important, not just for your business or not just for your department, but for yourself. Ask yourself, do you really love what you're doing? Because if you do, you are going to achieve success in all parts of your life. All right, this is the beginning of the road that we all go on when we're on these journeys. So the first thing we do is commit, right? I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to marry that guy. I'm going to marry that girl. I'm going to start this business. And if you look at the y-axis, that's kind of like the best place you'll ever be as far as excitement, right? It's really exciting when you commit, because you haven't started doing the work yet. And so everything's rosy and everything's great, and it's going to be fantastic. And so just realize that it's all downhill from there. And my greatest story of commitment, of really understanding commitment, comes from Japan. And for those of you that speak Japanese out there, I know I'm going to screw up the pronunciation, so I apologize, but the Tendai monks in Kyoto, Japan, they're called the marathon monks. Heard of them? Yes? No? So they run a marathon a day for 800 days in order to become monks in this temple. 800 days on the trail. Shaved head, robes, sandals. They're committed. To show their commitment, they carry a sword and a rope. And if they decide to quit, they've got to kill themselves on the course. That's the kind of commitment we're talking about here. Like when you, I don't expect you to carry a sword and a rope, right? But when you commit to something, whether it's a marriage or a business or a marathon or whatever it is, you've got to commit at that level, because otherwise when the going gets tough, and the going will get tough, you're going to quit. I see thousands, tens of thousands of people quit races, quit things, and they regret them forever. I was with my kid's wrestling coach, and I said, "Coach, did you wrestle in college?" And he said, "Every single day of my life since college, I've had to say, no, I didn't wrestle in college, and it eats me up because I wanted to party instead, and I wish I had wrestled." He wasn't committed. And so, time flies. If you're going to commit to something, make sure it's at the level of the monks without the sword and the rope. Now you got to maximize your time. You've committed. Let's say, let's as we go through this, let's say you've all committed to doing a Spartan race. You've committed, now you got to maximize your time. What does that mean? Don't waste time. Ben Hunt, I believe his name was, Olympic gold medalist, 2000 Sydney Olympics, 8-man rowing team. They want to win the gold. No chance they're going to win. So a few years before, they said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up one habit, and every single day we're going to maximize our time. We're going to ask ourselves, with every decision we make, will it make the boat go faster? And if the answer is no, we're not going to do it. Hey guys, let's go have ice cream. Will it make the boat go faster? No, we're not having ice cream. Hey guys, we had a great week of training, let's go out with the girls. Will it make the boat go faster? No, we're not going out with the girls. 2 years later, they win the gold. You guys can Google it, it's a great story. Will it make the boat go faster? So what I'm proposing here is every time you commit to something, in this case, we're committing to a Spartan race, or whatever it is you're committing to, business, you got to ask yourself, am I wasting time with the things I'm doing? How much time do you spend on the phone? Journal for a day, what you do each day. You will be shocked at how much time you waste. And so if you're wasting time, and you're not putting time and effort towards the thing you're trying to complete, the thing you're trying to be successful at, you're probably not going to win the goal. Maximize your time. Delay gratification. How many people know of the marshmallow test? 1970s, Walter Mischel, Stanford University. So the professor puts a bunch of kids in cubicles, offers all the children a marshmallow. He says to the children, you could eat the marshmallow now, or when I come back into the cubicle, I will give you 2 marshmallows if you wait, if you could delay the gratification. As you can imagine, most kids eat the marshmallow. He follows the kids for 30 years. The kids that were able to delay gratification, better houses, better SAT scores, better colleges, better marriages, everything in their life was better. It's obvious, right? If you don't hit the snooze button in the morning and you go do the workout, if you don't have the cookie at night, the extra dessert, if you don't drink the wine, if you go to bed earlier, you're going to be more successful. You're more likely to achieve your goals. My wife and I have 4 children. When my oldest was 6, I decided to test them with the marshmallow test. And it's scary because you don't know what kind of kid you have, and so I offer him ice cream, which he doesn't eat, so already I'm thinking I'm making excuses in my mind. If he eats the ice cream, it's not so bad. So I said, Jack, you could have your scoop of ice cream, or if you wait, I'll give you 2. And I'm watching my phone, and about 3.5 minutes in, he turns to me and he says, Dad, how long do I have to wait to get 15 scoops? And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about playing for 15 scoops. Like, if you want to be successful at whatever it is, it's not just about money, but anything you're going after, you're playing for 15 scoops, and it's going to require that you don't take the marshmallow. So you got to master that. Next one is fuel your enthusiasm. It's starting to suck, right? We committed. We started to maximize our time. We're not doing the fun stuff anymore. We're delaying gratification. We're not hitting the snooze button. It's not as exciting. But you got to remain enthusiastic. Enthusiasm comes from that word entheos. It's an ancient Greek word. And it's kind of like fake it till you make it. Smile. Your body actually will start to feel better if you just smile, even if you're not feeling it, right? If you don't feel like smiling. So how many people, you don't want to be around somebody who's not enthusiastic. You don't want to be around an energy sucker. You want to be around energy givers, people that are always happy. You've been to a restaurant where the waitress is awesome, or the waiter is awesome to be around, or a taxi cab driver, or in this case, Uber and Lyft, right? Where they're enthusiastic. That helps you get through the day, not just personally, but everybody around you. And at that point in time, so this is, let's say, you've committed to the Spartan race, you're 5 weeks into your training regimen, you're starting to feel disillusioned, right? So if you can be enthusiastic, even if you have to fake it, you're going to get through this rough time. I was thinking about a story just a few minutes ago that I would tell you on this slide. And a buddy of mine, Sammy Inkiden, I don't know if you know him, from Silicon Valley. He sold a tech company, did very well. He decided with his new wife that they were going to take some time off after selling their company, and they were going to row a rowboat from San Francisco to Hawaii. You guys know this story? No? So plans the whole thing out, buys the best boat, gets all the equipment, they go train, they're ready to go. Just, they committed, they maximizing the time, they nailed everything. And as soon as they head out, a storm rolls in and knocks them 400 miles off course. And Sammy, he starts crying, and he quits. I'm done. And his wife slaps him and remains enthusiastic and pulls them together, and they made it to Hawaii, 2,600 miles. They rode to Hawaii. So enthusiasm is powerful. All right, here's where it gets really tough. You're at this place, and I've been there, right, when you're doing whatever. In my case, let's say a 100-mile run. And I'm at mile 65, and my legs are killing me, and it sucks. And I'm starting to think about the naysayers. I probably see a few friends that are at a support station, and they're telling me, I told you not to do this. That's why your knees are hurting. You didn't fuel properly. You didn't train enough. So the naysayers are piling on because that's what some people do. The difference, in my opinion, between success and failure, because most people quit right here at the 100-mile run, at the start of the business, right? How many businesses have people just throw in the towel? Right at this point, if you have a proper frame of reference, you're going to nail it. You're going to come out of this trough, and you're going to succeed. What's a frame of reference? Frame of reference is the glasses we wear in life. It's based on our experiences and our values and our beliefs and all the things that have occurred in our life. So if we grew up in a really tough place with cold showers every day and snow and very little food and no indoor plumbing, well, except for the cold showers, we probably don't mind mile 65 where there's friends and food, right? But if we grew up on Park Avenue and everything was right at our fingertips and we never experienced anything tough, those glasses probably get us to quit right here. Now, the good news is you can change your frame of reference. And that's by manufacturing a little adversity in your life. So for me, it's burpees, it's the cold showers, it's the long runs. I carry around a kettlebell just to make it a little harder on me. And it sounds ridiculous, but even Michael Phelps' coach used to do it to Michael. He used to purposely break his goggles right? And so when he was swimming and training, water's coming in, he doesn't know what's wrong with his goggles, he would screw up his flight tickets. He would take stuff out of his duffel bag because he knew when they were going for the gold, there was going to be that moment where he wants to quit. And if he had changed his frame of reference, if he had manufactured some adversity in his life, he'd be more likely to be successful when it mattered. So I beg you to manufacture a little adversity in your life. Make things a little harder. Don't make them easier. I had a friend yesterday text me and say, I broke my arm, I was training, and I slipped on the concrete. And I said, well, I hope you suffer a lot. He's like, what the fuck? And I said, look, and I explained the whole frame of reference thing, and he laughed about it. So embrace the tough times. They're good for us. By the way, I probably wouldn't be giving this talk if we were living in a third world country, right, and we were fighting for food. I'm arguing that all these things are necessary in our very cushy, perfectly climate-controlled lives, where things are getting softer and we're learning helplessness. Embrace adversity. We just went through that. You see the little Spartan symbol there. That's where we're headed for. That's the gold. Grit. How many people have heard of Angela Duckworth, University of Pennsylvania? No. She's the preeminent grit expert. She took the term from an old John Wayne movie, True Grit. Grit is exactly what it sounds like. It's like grinding sand between your teeth. And it's really a culmination of all these things we've spoken about. You're at mile 85 on the 100-mile run. Your legs aren't working. You may figuratively or actually be pissing blood at this point. You're mumbling. You don't remember your name. You've got 15 miles to go. And the only thing that's going to get you through it, the last 15 miles, is grit. And I'm applying it to a 100-mile run, but it's in all the examples in all of your lives in the room. There's going to be times when you're on whatever journey you're on, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I can't even tell you how many times I can't make payroll or couldn't make payroll or had people quit that were great employees or a competitor steals something from you, right? It sucks. You're at mile 85. You just got to grind through it. It's that ability to somehow stay enthusiastic, stay focused, head down, even when there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And there's a reason why you push through at that moment. Build integrity. So I was given this speech to a colonel in the Special Forces, and we talked about integrity, and he said, when I think of integrity, Joe, I think about structural engineers and structural integrity. When they look at a building, they stress test it. They stress test all the components before they build it to make sure the building's going to withstand the environment. And really, what we're talking about here and what we do in the military is we're stress testing ourselves. We're meeting ourselves out there on that 100-mile run, in that marriage, building that business. We're finding out who we are. Do we blink, right, when times get really tough? What do we do at mile 85? And so it's really important that you finish the tasks you commit to because it builds integrity. Community. Again, I'm speaking to the military. I'm going through all this. The book was written already and about to go to print. And one of the operators in Delta Force stood up and said, hey, Joe, I love the 9 principles, but you're missing one. And I said, what's that? And he said, community. He said, nobody does it alone. So, and I agree 100%. So we had to add a 10th principle to the book. The reality is we're an average of our 5 best friends, right? So you want to surround yourself with great people, people that are uplifting, people that are going to get you from mile 85 to mile 100. And with Spartan, we've got 6, closing on 7 million people out there. It's a tremendous community that will fight and kick and scream to help you get to the finish line. And those are the kind of people that you want to be around. You don't want to be around people that are pulling you down. This creates, when you get to that finish line, this creates future memory. What is future memory? It's an actual scientific term. And so you come across the finish line. And, in boxing years ago, before, let's say, a heavyweight would go for the big title bout, they would give him some layup fights. And those layup fights were creating future memory. He was getting the endorphins released, the dopamine pathways opened in his brain, so that when he got back in the ring and the first bell rung, he could taste the win. And so it's really important, again, to finish with you start, because the next time you get on the starting line, whatever that starting line is, no matter what task you're seeking out to complete, your brain will give you a little taste so that you remember what it feels like, and it'll be easier the second time to get to the finish line. That's the list if you guys want them. I'm absolutely convinced it'll get you closer to your goals, whatever your goals are. And that's it. We're done. Thanks.